Hi guys, my name is Andrea Valdez and I am the newest coach with Team 3D Muscle Journey. Because I'm the newbie, it's kind of been my job to study up on a bunch of things and our processes and how we do things and why we do things. So within that, I've found quite a few patterns with some frequently asked questions, some basic inquiries, and some gray area with what exactly our services offer. And although some people come in no problem, a lot of people tend to be a little bit confused, not so much in our weekly coaching, but with our Skype consultation services. So the purpose of this video is to kind of tell you guys what we do, how we do it, who it's for, what you can expect, and all that stuff. So without further ado, let me bring y'all in so we can talk more about it. Now, although people are pretty much familiar with our weekly coaching, I just want to go through it real quick just to make sure, and then we'll head over to the Skype calls. So our weekly coaching is for generally two types of people, either contest prep athletes that are getting ready for bodybuilding shows, and that's any type of cosmetic athlete or physique athlete, like we call them, male and female bodybuilding, male and female physique, female figure, female bikini, all that jazz. We also work on meet prep with our powerlifters, our strength athletes. So this might just be a volume taper into a meet, that might be you cutting for a weight class. Typically, if you're in the thick of it and coming into your meet, then you'll go to weekly coaching. If you're pretty far away, got a few months, you might be in the Skype call thing. Again, we'll talk about that later. But contest prep athletes, always weekly coaching. And then as far as what we can expect from you and what you can expect from us, once you become a weekly coached athlete, because you could have transferred over, again, we'll talk about that. Once you transfer into weekly coaching, you have a reporting day. With that, you need to give us the things that, actually, let me rewind that. When you sign up with us, your coach will give you a program and a nutritional plan, right? Within that, it comes in a spreadsheet, and that has, you have to insert your daily weigh-ins, insert your carbs, proteins, and fat that you're consuming, and then fill in your training as per your prescribed program. Every week, you'll turn that into your coach, along with a set of pictures or video. We like both. And when I say we do everything as a team. This is not, basically when you come on with us and our team, you're adopted with our general principles, philosophies, things of that nature. Yeah, each coach has their different schedule, maybe tiny tweaks about the way they do things, but we communicate well, we communicate very often. So we're all on the same page, we all know what's going on. Your assigned coach is just your reporter, you know? So you give us the spreadsheet, you give us the pictures. You also then, we encourage you to either give us a video or a typed out kind of general feelings on how everything's going, whether that be mood, mental state, libido, dudes. What else? Things going on with your family, anything that's interfering with your training, work stresses. It all pertains to you as an athlete. We are human beings, and 3DMJ really prides ourselves on knowing that we are coaches of humans. We are not robots spitting out numbers. So, and with the timeline, typically, it's hard to say typically, but with a contest prep athlete, the earlier the better. We prefer in general that we talk to you about it a year away from your show. And then depending on how far you are, maybe we'll say, all right, we need to start weekly coaching, or we'll say, do Skypes for a little bit and come back in 6 months, we'll start weekly. So the timeline can vary depending on how much weight you have to lose, how far out your show is. Oh, all kinds of good things. But again, that'll be between you and the coach that you're in contact with on the weekly. Now, our Skype call services are pretty different, but this is where I believe a lot of the questions that we get arise from, so I really wanted to dive a little further into this. A Skype consultation, you book with the 3DMJ coach, and typically we can schedule you within 1 to a few weeks. Once one of the coaches gets your application, we will then give you instructions as to not only how to give us whatever information we would need. So we might ask you to collect a little bit of data on your body weight and your nutrition for now. And then when you're scheduled, it's an hour time slot, you in real time with the 3DMJ coach. And within that call, we talk about, usually your introductory call is different than a recurring call. So I guess what I can say is the overall goal of Skype is you're not prepping, you're not actually getting ready for a show, but we do have a plan, you do have homework, and we do keep up with you over the months or sometimes even years for whatever you need. So with a first time Skype call, generally a lot of it is going to be you talking. You tell us we'll have your application prior to. We'll have pictures too, because all that comes with your application. But we'll also want to know how you've been training, how you've been feeling, what your goals are. We'll get a really good feel for who you are, what you want, and where you're coming from. And then either right after the call or sometime usually throughout that day, we'll give you your program. We'll tell you what we expect, whether that's, okay, this is not only your training program, but also based on your goals, we want to lose this much weight over this amount of time. If you every 2 weeks, get your average weigh in. If you don't weigh enough, increase your food by this much. If you haven't lost any weight, maybe add cardio by this much. So the way that we're able to space out our Skype calls for usually, again, very general, between like 8 weeks and 6 months, depending on what you need, you have contingency plans. You know what to do. It's like a very if this, then that kind of thing. So that's how we're able to keep you on a good track. You have your homework, but you also know what you're supposed to be doing. And if this, you do this. If this, you do this, and you're set. So who does that tend to be really beneficial for? A lot of people, honestly, a lot more than you think. So if you're someone who's been saying, when I get big enough, I'll get a coach. When I learn enough, I'll get a coach. When I'm comfortable enough tracking, I'll get a coach. When I weigh this amount, I'll get a coach. All of those things we can actually help you with. We have a lot of athletes that are not competitors. Either they're off season. So actually, let me just go through this list with you guys. This is the most common type of Skype calls. I'll get you another list in a little bit when I clear the board about some other different ways that we can use our Skype services. But these are some of the most typical ones and people that we would recommend it for. Off-season athletes, obviously. Future athletes. So if you want to compete, if it's a 1-year goal, really get on it. But if it's like a 3 to 5 year goal, we can definitely help you. A lot of times those type of people will come to us in a year out or something, and we immediately will say, okay, you have 40 pounds to lose within this year. Let's get you on a mini cut right away. Let you coast for a little bit before we start your actual contest prep. That's really common, actually. So we'd like to get you sooner so we can have you get off a little bit of the excess, chill for a little bit, and then we'll go into the weekly coaching. So Skype calls, anytime. Lots of people can use them. Paralysis by analysis. If you're that person that reads an article, tries a program, reads another article 3 weeks later, that sounds better, I'm really dedicated. And it's like, you just need someone to be like, here, do this, we got you. Not only just do this and tell you what to do, because it's not necessarily about us being on top of you, but a lot of times just having that accountability and someone to report to can definitely help out. Time's greater than money. Say that you're like, I know how to count my macros. I know how to track my workouts. I just don't have time. This is my goal. Please, can you talk to me? Do it for me. I'll see you in 6 weeks or whatever, Education. Maybe you like a lot of our videos and you understand the main principles, but you don't know how to actually see it into practice. One of our coaches will go through it with you and provide that for you. And then if you just want better than average results, say you've been lifting for 2 or 3 years, the first 6 months you saw a lot of changes. Since then, you're not really getting stronger, you're not really looking any different, you're not too sure what to do. A lot of times having one of us to talk to and keep you accountable and ensure that you're eating enough, have the right amount of volume, things of that nature, this is definitely a great service for you as well. And I guess that's important for me to go back to as well, is what you get from this is your hour on the call with the coach, but you get a customized training program based on everything that we talked about. And like I said, it gives you if this, then that. You also will be expected to report back depending on what you and the coach. So if you get an 8-week training program, maybe he's like, okay, contact me in 7 weeks, or she, I forget, I can say that now. Or if you get an 8-week program and you're fairly new, and let's say, run through that twice, email me in 16 weeks, and then we'll get you going on something else. We'll see where you're coming from. So Skype calls, although it's a one-time service, it's actually a long period of building a relationship with a physique coach or a strength coach. You need to put that in there too. And the only real difference in reporting per se is that week-to-week coaching, we expect your return. You expect us to get back to you. Like it's like back and forth, back and forth. With reporting, you apply for your first Skype call. You have to fill out all this stuff for us. The more information, the better. And then we have our initial call, you get your program, and then like I said, we'll tell you, come see me in this long, or if you have this long of a program, it's your job to contact us before. So we'll always get back to you, but it is we don't necessarily have you in the back of our minds 24/7 like we do these other guys that are getting ready for shows. And so the last thing I'm going to go over are a few other uses for Skype calls that are not really thought of, but have been done before, definitely, with great success. So posing and form checks. So maybe you coach yourself in either bodybuilding or powerlifting, but you want someone to look at either your physique and how you're displaying it, or the way that you're doing your lifts if something doesn't quite feel right. We can definitely go through a breakdown of those positions and all that stuff with you. And then also this whole Q&A, coaches, PT, personal trainer kind of stuff. So maybe you are a brand new online coach, maybe you're a personal trainer, and maybe if you're an online coach, you're like, we want some spreadsheet help, or you're not too sure how to run a coaching business and you want some insight on that. If personal trainer, you want some more assistance on programming, or maybe there's a conversation or two that you're trying to have with clients, you're not sure how we go about that, we'd definitely be able to help you out with that. So typically things like that are kind of prior contact is required usually. Like maybe you're someone who's corresponded with, say, Eric a ton of times about his research, and you wanted to pick his brain about the way he runs his subjects through his studies. I don't know. But there are other uses, but just use our contact page, see what's available, and see if we are able to help you with that. And very lastly, commonly asked questions that we get a whole lot would be coaches' availability and the timing, how it works out. If we, like even just tonight, I do Periscope broadcasts, and someone was like, well, do you only coach females? Do you coach competitors or general population? And there's no like real restrictions. We coach as a team, like I said. So with coach assignments, what typically happens is you apply to be a part of 3D Muscle Journey via our website, 3dmusclejourney.com. When your application comes through, it goes to our admin, and it is then kind of rotated through whoever has availabilities. So for contest prep and weekly coaching, we do have caps on our rosters, but it's not the same for everybody. It's based on the hours per week they have to work. Some of us do it full time, some of us are students, some of us have other jobs. So when you apply to be on this team, you are then sorted through not only who's available, who has space, and then who's up in the rotation. So I know that's kind of crazy, but again, we do everything as a team. We have the same principles, values, philosophies. We talk a lot. We know what's going on with all of each other. So you're going to get taken care of either way. And as far as the availability, the one thing I wanted to touch on with that is we do fill up with our roster. Like I said, on our weekly coaching. Skypes, we don't necessarily have a cap. It's just if most of us do 1 to 2 Skypes a day. I don't even think any of us do 3 actually right now. So if there's a lot of Skypes, you just might be further, say instead of getting an appointment next week, maybe yours is 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, something like that. But with our roster, it does fill. And what I do want to say is, if you're a Skype client and it's time for you to get ready for prep, you obviously get priority with availabilities. So if I have my full roster, say is 40 athletes, but I have one of my Skype clients that's rolling in, like I'm going to make room for him or her in order to make that happen. Same with all the other coaches. Skype clients get priority. So if you're waiting and you're thinking, I'll contact them when I'm 6 months out, we might be full 6 months out. But if you're on an off-season protocol with one of us now, not only do you get coaching availability, but you're also going to be very sure that you're in a good place to start your prep. And that's the biggest advantage of, I think, our off-season Skype programming is if you come to us late, sometimes you might be too late to get the show that you want. As we've touched on before, we believe in this is a human. This is something that we want to be a sport, something that you love, something that you can do as happily and healthfully as possible. And if for some crazy reason you come to us with 30 pounds to lose in 10 weeks, we'll tell you pick a different show, or sorry about it. But we're not going to do anything that would put our clients in danger, at least in our perspective. So availability, earlier slots, let's see. Yeah, the earlier the better. Skype gets priority. And it's always really easy for one of us to just say, hey, you know what? You're real far ahead of the game. I know you approached us for weekly coaching. I want you to be a Skype client. I'm going to give you a protocol. In 8 weeks, come to me, and then we'll start your contest prep. That's much easier than, oh, you have 8 weeks and 30 pounds. I can't help you, you know, or you need to pick a different show. So that's basically it. If you have any other questions, guys, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'll get to them as soon as I possibly can. If I don't, for some crazy reason, have the appropriate answer because I'm the newish girl, we'll go ahead and I'll have one of the guys get back to you as soon as possible as well, all right? So thank you guys for watching, and look forward to talking to you soon.